I hope I don't look too crusty because I kind of just sat down and didn't look in the mirror. Hey, hi, hello. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. I had to turn off the fan because it was right behind you. But this is the intro to a new video project. Another one inspired by Kayla from Books and Lala. Inspired by, this is literally what she did, but it was taking this assessment that's called Read Your Color, the reading assessment that will get you reading books you love. So I was watching her video again, and so I'm gonna take this quiz and then see what it recommends to me, because we are at the beginning of June. It's June 2nd, and so I'm trying to decide I'm gonna see what it recommends. I think that it recommends you books, like specific books based on the color and the answers you get from the quiz. So I just want to see what I'm getting, and if I just want to pick like 2 or 3, or if I want to like rebuild my entire June TBR. But it depends on what I get here. So I'm recording my screen, so we're gonna take the assessment together. Woo, let's do this. 24. It says this quiz will show you 24 different hypothetical book summaries. Indicate how likely you would be to read each one. Oh, this is gonna be hard. Okay. A poetic memoir weaves together fragments, dreams, journal entries, old text chronicling the author's healing after grief. I'd probably read that. A woman falls in love with a man through anonymous letters exchanged in library books, never meeting until fate intervenes. Like I might. Let's see. In a city run by corporations, a lone data hacker risks everything to uncover the truth behind a mass digital blackout. I would probably read that. In a shattered world ruled by elemental warlords, a cursed warrior and an outcast prince from a forbidden bond that could remake the, I read that wrong. In a shattered world ruled by elemental warlords, a cursed warrior and an outcast prince form a forbidden bond that could remake the realm. Okay. Is it gay? It depends. I might read it. I would need more details. A solitary monk walks across America encountering strangers who subtly reshape his inner life and beliefs. That's not giving me too much. Drawing on neuroscience and ancient philosophy, this guide helps overthinkers learn to make better decisions. I don't like that because I feel called out. But if we're using science, maybe I might read it. I'm already hot from turning my fan off. So be grateful. A surrealist art. What? I need to put my glasses on. A surrealist artist discovers her paintings are portals to real world, and something is starting to come back through the canvas. I might read that. A grumpy CEO starts to rethink what's important to him after he falls in love with the new VP of marketing. I might read it. Okay, I might. An ex-assassin hiding in Alaska must confront his past when his daughter is taken by a vengeful arms dealer. It doesn't sound good to me. Sounds like a good 90-minute film I would watch, but as a book, no thanks. A chef journeys across post-Soviet Europe, searching for the recipes that defined her grandmother's lost homeland. Okay, is that non-fiction or fiction? I feel like I would be more inclined to read it if it was non-fiction. I might read it. A multi-generational novel told from the perspective of a single house and the people who lived, loved, and died within it. Multi-generational stories can be hit or miss. Like sometimes I just feel like because it's so many generations, they tend to be very long. And then I don't always feel connected to every character of every generation. So like I might, maybe. A deep dive into how food systems, global trade, and local economies shape the way we eat and how to eat better. Again, I'm assuming this would be nonfiction. I might read that depending on the person and what they're trying to say, because a lot of in like what information they're using, and then if other people that I trust recommended it. So I'm gonna say might read. A linguist and an ex-CIA operative must decode an ancient manuscript before a secret society reshapes history. Okay, this is giving me a little bit Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown-ish, and those books are fun. Best written, no. Entertaining, I might read it. I don't think, have I had a would definitely read so far? All right. A novel told entirely through footnotes and deleted Wikipedia entries reconstructs the life of a time traveler who never existed. I feel like that might make my head hurt. A struggling screenwriter falls for the nanny of his ex-wife's kids in a story filled with awkward charm, bad coffee, and unexpected kisses. A struggling screenwriter falls for the nanny of his ex-wife's kids. No, I don't want to read that. No. In a future where dreams can be uploaded and bought, a woman begins to lose the line between memory and product. That sounds interesting. I wouldn't read it. A former Silicon Valley exec shares what broke him, what healed him, and how to live a more intentional digital life. No. Yeah. A rescue team in Antarctica picks up a distress signal from a base that officially doesn't exist and never did. That sounds good. I would read it. A cultural critic's essay collection of the end of privacy, the aesthetics of apocalypse, and what comes after capitalism. Now, I would say, if I had a more mentally stable brain, I would read this. This sounds very interesting. But as I am currently good, okay, coasting along, taking my meds, doing therapy, I'm good. Something like this might make me spiral. So we're going to say no. A woman uncovers a box of unsent letters and begins to rewrite the story of her childhood. I don't know. It doesn't speak to me. A clear, no-nonsense manual on how to lead teams with empathy. No. Don't care. No. An ornithologist joins a rogue expedition into the Congo to find a supposedly extinct bird, and the team starts vanishing one by one. Now, this sounds interesting. But with the recent, especially hantavirus and people and them birding people being the reason that I don't want to read it. I might read it. In an alternate 1800s, a woman disguises herself as a man to join a pirate crew in search of a mythical island said to grant second lives. I might read it. Okay, we're on the last question. I don't think I would definitely read for any of these, although my memory is shit, so maybe I did. A box of mementos hidden by her late husband sends a young widow on a cross-country road trip through memory and mourning. Probably not. Wow. So what the fuck are they gonna recommend me? Okay. I'm an orange reader. Very interesting. Okay, well, my red and orange are actually tied. It says 40%. Then blue reader, and purple reader are both 35, and then green and yellow reader are 25. So how do they decide which one I am if I tied for red and orange? Let's explore my type. You are an orange reader, the serial world hopper. You know, that feels accurate. So, the orange reader thrives on masterful world building. They look for stories with imagination, exploration, and vivid storytelling that transport them far beyond the ordinary. They seek out expansive worlds, epic adventures, and richly detailed narratives that ignite their sense of wonder and possibility. For them, reading is about discovery, excitement, and embarking on journeys that stretch the boundaries of their imagination. You know, I'm here for it. I'm feeling good so far. So the kind of books you read are, the books orange readers love are immersive, expansive, and full of boundless imagination. Whether journeying through epic fantasy realms, futuristic landscapes, or historical adventures, they crave narratives that transport them beyond ordinary boundaries. They are drawn to richly detailed worlds, complex plots, and unforgettable characters who embark on extraordinary journeys. They prefer stories that ignite their imagination, stir their sense of wonder, and challenge their perceptions of possibility. Orange readers read to explore, discover, and imagine new realities, often seeking escape and inspiration in equal measure. They are attracted to tales that offer fresh perspectives or vividly reimagine familiar worlds. For them, a great book is one that fully captivates their senses and fuels their adventurous spirit. So, Your fiction preferences: epic fantasy and richly imagined sagas. Science fiction explores speculative futures and alternate realities. Historical fiction packed with adventure, discovery, and immersive detail. Dystopian stories that challenge society's norms and push boundaries. Imaginative tales that blend realism with fantastical or speculative elements. I feel like that's all spot on. Like, I primarily, if you ask me just like as a genre, I'm a fantasy reader. That is the majority of my bookshelves. However, in the last couple of years, I haven't read as much and I've been reading other genres. So I do feel that it's pretty accurate. For my nonfiction preferences, it says engaging accounts of exploration, discovery, and daring journeys, historical narratives that bring pivotal moments vividly to life, scientific explorations that push the boundaries of current knowledge, travel logs and adventure memoirs brimming with excitement and discovery, thought-provoking essays or books that speculate on humanity's future. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I read a lot of definitely historical and like sociological. I don't know how to characterize a lot of the nonfiction I've read, but I don't feel like I've read a lot of exploration accounts or travel adventure memoirs. So that's interesting. So now here on the screen, there are just 4 books. Dune, I've read it. The Way of Kings, I've read it. Outlander, I've read it. Shogun, have not read. I started the show, mean to get back to it. So I guess to get, this is get weekly recommendations, you enter your email. Interesting. So let's see what they'll give me if I don't enter my email. Okay, I might have to enter my email because it says you'll love these books. The Name of the Wind. I have that book, but I'm not reading it because he's not finished the series and I don't know if he ever will, so I probably will never read it. Neil Gaiman, American Gods. I'm not reading any Neil Gaiman. Larry McMurtry, Lonesome Dove. I've been hearing about this a lot. I thought this was a new novel. This is a Western. It's an older Western, but it's like 900 goddamn pages. And then The Lost City of Z, A Tale of Deadly Obsession in the Amazon. Interesting. Okay, maybe I have to, okay, I'm gonna edit this part out so you don't see my emails. Okay, maybe if I subscribe, I can get some better recommendations than just those. So this says 1 weekly book rec for each color type and occasional articles, because this just really didn't give me anything. Like, it told me, but I thought it was going to give me a bunch of like actual book recommendations. So if I did keep this whole thing ad-free, color specific reading plans, deep dives on each type. Okay, maybe if I do this, I'll pay one time, I'll pay $5 to get a color specific reading plan. I'm annoyed. Now, I don't have the app. I don't want the fucking app. And I just want to go through some of these and find some recs without having to do that. So I'll be back with the books that I find. And I guess I'll have to screenshot them and then whatever. But I don't want to pay. So I don't want to pay, and then I don't want to wait months to get like one, or, you know, get an email once a week. Annoying capitalism. Okay, I'm back. The sun went away. It was raining. The sun came out. The sun went away. It's raining again. But I did have to download the damn Substack app, but I did not pay for anything. So some of the posts, like, you could read part of it, but then the rest of it was behind a paywall. I understand. I know people have to make money, but just for this project, I just didn't want to spend. So I did collect a lot of free recommendations. Some where I was like, okay, that's fitting because I read that book and loved it. And then as I was editing the first part of this, I was like, the one about the pirate. I'm like, wait, that's basically the Amina Al-Sarafi. And then that was one of the recommendations. So I have them so I can put them up here, but that was one of the recommendations, and I'm like, wait, I think I might read that. But I think on its own, it's not a premise that I normally would go for, but I was going to read it because I already love the Devabad trilogy by Shannon Chakraborty. So anyway, that was one that I already read. I was like, okay, that was good. There was another one here that was a recommendation that I already read. Middle Game by Shauna McGuire. I loved that book. So I was like, okay, this is making me feel confident. Ow, I keep hitting my hand. So some of the recommendations, I am like, A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine. I tried to read this book once. I don't think I got super far. I was like, ooh, I really have to focus on this one. There's a lot going on. I've heard good things, but also Angela loves it. And Angela's got she's smart, right? She's way smarter than me. She's got a big brain. So we don't always agree on things. So I don't know, but that is one of the options. And I know it's a sci-fi story. Arkady Martine, a former Byzantine historian, built an empire modeled on the collision of Aztec, Byzantine, and Central Asian civilizations, then dropped a single outsider into the middle of it. So we have an ambassador arrives carrying her dead predecessor's consciousness in her skull, and what follows is palace intrigue, political thriller, and a meditation on falling in love with the culture that wants to consume yours. Okay. I don't know. It's a possibility. Another one was, so he does a mixture of like backlist and new releases. This was a newer release when he posted it. It's called Babylon, South Dakota. This novel by Tom Lin. A Chinese immigrant couple homesteads on the South Dakota plains with a sack of chrysanthemum seeds and a pocket of hidden gold, but then the U.S. Army shows up to build a missile silo on their land. What unfolds is a multi-generational saga that drifts into fabulous territory. You get a daughter who communes with animals, a mother who develops a talent for seeing the future, chrysanthemums that become impervious to everything, and even a dog that cannot be killed. Okay, that's interesting. 2312 by Kim Stanley Robinson. I have seen many of her books. I don't think I've read any of them. But this is 300 years from now, humanity has colonized the solar system, and Robinson builds that future with the patience of someone who actually believes in it. The novel follows Swan Air Hung across Mercury, Saturn's moons, and the asteroids in a story that's part love letter, part conspiracy thriller, part philosophical meditation on what it means to be human when human no longer means one thing. Okay, it does say some readers found it brilliant, others found it slow. A lot of these recommendations were sci-fi, but so here's another one. Slow Gods by Claire North. This one is a galaxy-spanning space opera that doubles as a meditation on mortality, meaning, and what happens when powerful people choose not to act. Our narrator is an immortal, not quite human pilot born into a hyper-capitalist society built on debt, reborn through a mysterious encounter with the darkness between stars. When a godlike interstellar entity warns that a supernova will destroy all planetary life within 83 light years, the various human civilizations have a century or more to respond, and the responses range from courageous evacuation to willful denial. Now I Surrender by Alvaro Enrique. An epic, it's translated by Natasha Wimmer. An epic genre-bending novel that radically recasts the story of how the American West was won, spanning multiple timelines, a woman fleeing an Apache raid, the military maneuvering of Geronimo's surrender, and a present-day family retracing the borderlands. Enrique blends history, myth, and fiction into something that reads like a literary western written by Bolaño. The Elsewhere Express, which I have not heard of this, by Samantha Soto Yambao. You can't buy a ticket for Elsewhere Express. The magical train appears only to those whose lives are adrift. Raya, a songwriter who gave up on her dream after her brother died, finds herself swept aboard alongside Q, a charming artist who's also lost his way. Together they discover a train full of wonders, a boarding car that's also a meadow, a bar where jellyfish swim through pink clouds. Okay, my camera died, so I'm going to go over the rest, the ones, and just do a voiceover. And so I'll just show you and read what they're about so you can have an idea. We have The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. I remember seeing this cover. After a lapse in judgment, a woman is sent to a state program that re-educates mothers under unblinking surveillance. Speculative, propulsive, and eerily plausible, the world is fully built and disturbingly lived in. For this pair, it was for an author that's alive and an author that's dead. So one is Once Upon a River by Bonnie Jo Campbell, and the other is The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. So Grahame sends you floating down an English river with talking animals, adventure, and coziness. Campbell throws you into a rough, messy, modern river world full of danger and survival. Together, they're a perfect orange pairing: escape, landscape, and the sense that the river itself is a character you're traveling with. Strange Beasts of China by Yan Ji. In the fictional city of Yong'an, humans live alongside all kinds of beasts, mysterious, almost mythical creatures with their own rules, desires, and histories. Our unnamed narrator is a former zoology student and writer who's tasked with cataloging them. Each chapter focuses on a different species of beast, but as she investigates, the border between humans and beast, and between the story she's told and the truth, start to blur, including the truth about herself. This one is definitely a fantasy series, and it is The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman. King Chna Shanak is a charming disaster, a thief indentured to a sinister guild, a smart mouth with a dumb debt, and suddenly the reluctant companion to a giant slaying warrior on a quest that keeps getting bigger and weirder. Is joyful, bawdy, grim, and gloriously adventurous, like stumbling into a tavern. Orange readers will savor the world building, the road quest energy, and the sense that every turn opens a new corner of the map. I definitely remember when this book came out, and it sounded promising because thief, those usually are really fun for me, so who knows? I don't know how old this one is. Pandora's Star by Peter F. Hamilton. A distant star blinks out behind a mysterious barrier. The mission to investigate wakes something we might wish had slept. Sprawling civilizations, alien contact, interlocking plots, world building as architecture. This cover is very familiar. The Mountain in the Sea by Ray Naylor. Sentient octopuses, a sealed off archipelago, and a biotech corporation with its own private army. This is the first contact as thought experiment and chase novel. Naylor builds a world that feels eerily plausible, asking what intelligence means and what we owe it. Big sense of place, big ideas, and the heady thrill of discovery. Dark Matter, but don't be confused, this is not by Blake Crouch. This is by Michelle Paver, a chilling slow burn ghost story set in the Arctic during the 1930s. There's isolation, polar nights, and the creeping dread of something unseen. For orange readers who crave otherworldly adventures with a touch of the supernatural, this one hits just right. This was really the only nonfiction rec I saw, and it's tracks by Robin Davidson. Along with 4 camels and a dog, Davidson crossed nearly 2,000 miles of Australian desert. It's a wild, often funny, occasionally haunting memoir about solitude, adventure, and pushing beyond what you think you're capable of. Orange readers will find themselves right at home on the edge of the map. The Amalfi Curse by Sarah Pinner. This novel, or the cover, is like very recognizable, but I don't know, it just never appealed to me. But a woman returns to the Italian coast after her mother's mysterious death, only to uncover curses, conspiracies, and a haunting family history. It's rich in setting, fast in pace, and laced with supernatural intrigue. Orange readers will love the layered timelines, immersive atmosphere, and the sense of uncovering secrets and sun-drenched ruins. Escapist in the best sense. The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett, the first book in the Discworld series. This chaotic romp features a failed wizard, a clueless tourist, and a sentient piece of luggage. It's irreverent, imaginative, and delightfully absurd. Orange readers, if you've ever wanted to live inside the world's weirdest fantasy map, this is your portal. Now, I don't know if absurd British humor is going to be my jam after just reading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but who knows? Okay, this one had 3. Expansive, imaginative, always packing a bag. So The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. An ancient book lets you open doors to anywhere in the world, but not without consequences. You'll want to cancel your real travel plans for this fictional adventure. The Once and Future King by T.H. White. King Arthur, but with wit, heartbreak, and unexpected modern flair. It's a fantasy classic that scratches the mythic and the majestic at once. And Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie. A former spaceship AI in a human body seeks revenge across the galaxy. Yes, it's as wild as it sounds, and yes, orange readers are absolutely here for it. Hey, okay, we're back. So, I think the last time in the video I was going through the different recommendations that basically the guy gives for an orange reader. And so I posted a bunch of them, or all of them, I don't know how many, to my Patreon, and I said I would read the top 4. So the top 4 that were voted on for me to read were The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman, Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie, A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martin. And then there was a tie for the fourth one. They both had the same amount of votes. There was a Home for Good Mothers. I think it's by Jessamine Chan. And then there was Strange Beasts of China by Yan Ji. I think I'm doing this off of memory. So the rules I set for myself, I have a few of the books and then some other ones. There's like a 1 to 2 week hold from the library, so I'm waiting on those to come in. The ones I already have are Ancillary Justice and The Black Tongue Thief. But the rules that I made for myself were that I could DNF one, and then, obviously go to another one. I can DNF that second one. So I can DNF 2 books total, but that's it. So I have to at least read 3 of these fully, since I have 5 to choose from. So I was very sleepy last night. I read a chapter of The Black Tongue Thief, but I think I need to reread it because I really was kind of falling asleep just because it was late at night. I was in bed. So we are going to see. I have thoughts. My prediction is that I won't love all of these. I feel like I would need to go back and look at the color, but it feels like the different color themes just really come out to genres. I mean, there were most of the things like I recommended were like science fiction and fantasy, or at least have some element of that in the story. And I feel like the other colors are kind of like that. Like this color is for mystery. This one's more lit fic, but I would need to go look at that to be sure. But if that's the case, then I don't feel like that's really a good sorting system. I mean, I guess it is if you're a person who only reads a specific genre, and that's probably what this quiz is for. So I don't know, because while I am or have been historically primarily a fantasy and sci-fi reader, I do read a lot of other genres now. I read literary fiction and romance, historical fiction, a little bit of horror. So I don't know. We'll see. But I just wanted to, intro going into the vlog, and we'll see. I'm going to wash up my breakfast dishes and make myself a coffee, and I'm going to read. So I'm going to reread that first chapter of The Black Tongue Thief and read a little bit, start my day off that way, and I'll come back to report how it's going. Okay. Okay, so check in for this reading project. I think I told you yesterday what the book picks were, and that my rule for myself was that I could only DNF 3 of the books. Well, friends, we're already running into some problems here. So I started Ancillary Justice. I'm like 12%. I'm 10% into Ancillary Justice, and I'm like, what is this? What actually is going on? That is my problem. I love sci-fi, but I feel like this is written in a different language, and then I feel like it'll even out. I'm like, okay, I understand what's going on, and then I feel like it changes into a different language. It doesn't. It's written in English, but I don't know what's going on. And I was reading some people's reviews, and they were like, they had similar feelings, or feeling like you're just kind of thrown in, that it's just like not explained well, and I can't even explain it. The way that she's using gender is really weird. And I'm like, it's not, I didn't fully DNF it yet. I was like, you know what, maybe I just want to start with the fantasy first. So then I go to The Black Tongue Thief. I got 2%. And I was like, again, not a solid DNF, but I'm like, okay, I can't already DNF because that means I can't DNF anymore. That means I would have to finish The School for Good Mothers, Strange Beasts of China, and A Memory Called Empire. So then I started The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. This has the most promise right now. I read 12% last night. And I am vibing with this one more. I like the writing. It's easier to read. I understand what's going on. So far, we have this mother who is recently divorced. Her husband cheated on her and left her for a younger woman. She's still kind of in the throes of postpartum. I think her daughter might be 18 months. I still consider that, it takes a while for your body to go back to normal. She's not sleeping. Our child has been sick. And so she's going through some things, maybe makes a bad decision as a parent. And now she is under surveillance by CPS. But it's a bit more intense than maybe the CPS that we think of. So that's as far as I got because it was nighttime and I was getting tired. But out of the 3 so far, that has been the best start. So I'm going to continue with that one. I am going out of town tomorrow. So I'll just take my Kindle with me and hopefully I can finish it then. And when I finish that one, obviously I'll let you know my thoughts and then we'll see how I feel about the other 2. Because I don't think the other ones have come in from the library hold. I know A Memory Called Empire still had a wait and Strange Beasts of China. So I just wanted to give a little update on the first books that I was reading for this. I also tried to go back to the website because I obviously did the quiz, got my color, but I was talking to Angela and I wanted to go back and look at all of the different colors and what like the general synopsis that he gives for each one because the theory Angela was saying, because I didn't look at all the colors, was like, it seems like maybe they're just broken into genres. So like orange is sci-fi fantasy, maybe purple is literary fiction, yellow is nonfiction, something like that. And so I wanted to do that. So I go back to the website and it looks different. And I started tripping and I'm like, wait, did I get to the right website? And I go back to Lala's video and it is the right website, but I guess he's changed it because there used to be like a drop down to go to different things. And now it just has the quiz and even the quiz looks different. So I guess maybe he recently changed it. So I did a bunch of answers, not paying attention to try to get through. And it just gave me yellow. And I was like, okay, maybe I can look at the other colors, but I couldn't. It just like took me through all the different things about yellow, book recommendations, and then to his book, because he has a book coming out called Read Your Color. So I don't know if he's like restricting the information on the website unless you take the quiz and then you can only see yours because he wants people to read it in the book. I'm not reading the book. So anyway, so far, I don't know if his quiz is that good, but we'll see. I will keep going. I feel like I'm definitely going to complete the School for Good Mothers and then I'll come back with an update. Hello from Berlin. Or should I say hello, guten Tag. Hello, quick check-in. I'm in Berlin, obviously, and I'm gonna see Haley Williams tomorrow. I'm very excited, but I'm gonna read a little bit. I had a friend who was visiting, and we met up, but she left today, so I need to return to this. I haven't read since whenever I updated you last, so that probably was Thursday because I flew Friday. Today is Sunday, so I am 33% in. So in chapter 7. Ooh, this says 23 minutes left in this chapter. So they just got to like this school camp, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to do some reading. And then I'll probably go back to watching TV. But I wanted to do a little check-in. I don't know if I'll check in again while I'm here, but yeah. Oh, okay. All right, so update for this vlog. I finished. This is the first book I finished? Yeah, I think I told you that I DNF'd Anne Leckie's Ancillary Justice. Like, I just was like, what the fuck is this? What is going on? Not having a good time. Then I think I also, so I was reading The Black Tongue Thief with my eyeballs and I just could not focus. So then the audio was available. I don't know. I haven't officially DNF. I haven't returned it yet, but I'm just like, so I did read and finish one to completion, and that was The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Cham. Now, this started out promising, and then it felt like it was going on for too long. So that's the short of it is, I think it was interesting, so the short of it is, I think the premise, interesting, what it had to say, important, but it felt too long. I think this would have been better as a novella. I have the window cracked just a little bit. for some airflow because it's still morning right now. I'm gonna shut it soon, but there's like a bug that came right there. It looked like a bee or something, I don't know. The stress. I have 2 fans on and an AC unit. The AC unit is blowing out into the hallway because we tried to put it in the window, and anyway, the story is this woman, she is recently divorced. She has, I think her daughter's maybe 18 months, and she is working and basically still trying to adjust being a single parent, having a sick child, going through sleep withdrawals, makes a really terrible decision and leaves her daughter at home by herself for a few hours, and the daughter's crying. The neighbor ends up, calling the authorities, so the child is taken out of her custody. She was splitting custody with her ex-husband, and now he's gonna have full custody while they're figuring this out. So, in our normal world, CPS gets involved, and that happens in this story, but it's to another level because this is a really dystopian novel, to where it's not just like visitations, like monitored, and maybe there's psychological evaluations and things. They're like coming into her home and planting cameras and like watching her every move. And then that still isn't enough. They have a new program for mothers that have a whole range of things that they've done wrong, and they send them to this school for good mothers. I don't remember in the story if it was actually just, if it was called that or if it had a different name, but they essentially take them to this place. And then they also have a school for fathers as well, but they're separated. They're not on the same campus. And they have to do this school for a year. There's all these stipulations on things they can and can't do if they want the best chance at getting their children back. And so then I feel like the first, I don't know, is it 15-20% is leading up to that, and then we get there. And then that's the majority of the story. And again, I still thought that was interesting. I was like, okay, this is, a next step, really dystopian thing to think about. And to be fair, a lot of these things that these women were accused of or did are, have placed their children in harm's way. But again, there's this greater conversation on all of the pressures placed on women, how lack of support from women. Even our main character is like a middle class person, and she could have asked for help, but I think the kind of mental game of I am a mother, I should be able to do it all, I shouldn't have to ask for help, really plays into this here. But there are women that she's at the school with who aren't middle class, are of different racial backgrounds. Our main character is Chinese American, I believe, and so I do think it had a lot of interesting things to say. But it just after a while felt tedious because it was just like day after day of them being at the school and seeing all the different things that they had to endure. So I just think it could have been more novella length. It could have been more succinct. It would have been more impactful, because after a while it was just like, okay. And then the ending, I don't know how I feel about it. It's not necessarily open-ended, but it's basically one where something happens and then you can infer what happens, but it's still not like this is, I mean, it's pretty concrete, but I still can see people feeling like it's kind of open-ended. I don't know. The writing was fine. It wasn't like, I didn't hate it. I did switch from reading the ebook to the audio like halfway through. And there were some really creepy things that were going on at this school. I also like the conversation when we get to learn about the men and the different things they're telling the women versus the men at these schools, that really just kind of mirror society and how they view mothers versus how they view fathers. So I still think it was really interesting. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it because it just feels too long, but it is, I did like the messaging in the book. So would I say that that was an excellent pick for me for the read your color? No, but it wasn't totally off. So far we've had a full DNF, a maybe DNF, and one book finished, and I gave that book 3 stars. So the other books I was waiting for were Strange Beast of China, I think, and A Memory Called Empire. Well, my hold for Memory Called Empire just came in. I'm nervous. I tried to read this book 2020, 2021 maybe, and I remember starting it and being like, oh, my brain is not ready for this at the moment. I didn't think I got that far. So I'm intrigued to see how I do this time. So we'll see. I'll check in. So here with an update, and normally I wouldn't have a tank top on, but hopefully you can't see too much of my body. The heat wave has broken. It is 66 degrees outside. It does not feel that way inside. So I have the window open, I still have fans on, but we're supposed to get a break. But the heat might, I think it's gonna be back. This is like psychological warfare to me. Like, being hot makes me so miserable. I can't explain. But I wanted to check in for Read Your Color, and with bad news. Well, it's both bad and good. I am deciding to end this project. And I know that I said I was only allowing myself to DNF 2 to read 3 books, but it has put me in such a, I don't want to say slump, I just don't want to read because I don't want to read those books. I have other books that have come in that I want to read, and I'm like, no, I need to get through this, and I'm just not having a good time. I really want to be able to be like Kayla from Books and Lala and be able to do a video product and just read it, but I'm such a mood reader, and that's why I will try these projects that usually don't ever work for me. I take a break, I try something like it again, and it's just, it doesn't work. And I really wanted to push through because I was like, okay, well, I don't feel like I'm gonna have a valid opinion on the Read Your Color quiz if I don't finish all the books, and I'm gonna have an opinion anyway. I don't care if you take it or not. But I just don't think, I think if you like a specific genre and you can just pick up a book and read it, doesn't matter what mood you're in or whatever, I think this quiz would really work for you because the questions are really gonna direct you to a certain type of book, and you can just pick that up and enjoy it. Then I think that could be something that works for people, especially if you just need some guidance. You're like, I wonder what I should read. Now, I didn't look at all the recommendations for all the other ones. I think there's a mixture of some older books, some new, some like front list books. I don't have enough data to like compare the popularity, but all of the books that I saw for recommendations, most of them I was familiar with. You know, there weren't a lot of obscure recommendations. So I just think if you just want a different way to get some recommendations that, and again, you read a particular genre, so when you're answering all the questions, it's going to direct you to a specific genre or maybe two that kind of overlap. Like I got sci-fi fantasy, and you're not a mood reader, I think this could be really great. But for somebody like me who, yes, I do love sci-fi fantasy, but I also have been reading a lot of other genres, and just because it's sci-fi fantasy doesn't always mean it works for me, and I'm a mood reader, this was not for me. I also, and again, I don't know what was recommended for the other colors. I don't know how well, it just seems like there's not a lot of diversity in the authors. Like it was mostly white authors in the books that were like recommended for orange. There were some Asian authors, but I just didn't see a lot of, from what I saw, queer stories, black stories, I don't know. So interesting. I think that when his book comes out, I may request it from the library just to see what all he says, like what all the colors are and how he came up with the system. But I just don't think it's like, and I doubt that he says this, but I just don't think it's like this hard, fast, sure thing that you take this quiz that they'll be able to predict what kind of reader you are and give you books that you'll love. So the books that I had recommended were The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman, which is a fantasy like heist story. I just could never get into it. I kept trying. I tried the ebook, I tried the audio, and I don't know again if it was my mood or the writing, but like I just would read a chapter and be like, I don't like this, and I really don't have a way to explain. I don't think I like the writing. Ancillary Justice by Ann Leckie. What the fuck? I love sci-fi, but that was just fucking, I don't even know. That was so strange. There would be moments where I'm like, oh, okay, I can get into this, and then moments where it seemed like it changed languages. It was still in English, and I'd be like, what is going on? It was too much. Then we had the one book that I did finish, The School for Good Mothers by Jess Chan, which again, I mostly enjoyed this one. I did think it was too long. The story needed to be more succinct, but I liked the topics that it brought up and addressed. Then A Memory Called Empire, which is a book I want to read. Like, I at least want to give another try because I have tried it before, but I wasn't in the headspace. And now this is out of this process, the 4th book that I'm trying. So I'm just already fatigued by the time I get to A Memory Called Empire. I'm reading other books I haven't enjoyed. And I'm like, do I try to force myself through it and then hate it? Or do I just say, I'm over this project and maybe I try that book later? The last one was Strange Beasts of China, which that one I was still waiting for the library. So I'm not going to be reading that one at this time. Not to say I'll never read it. But I just don't think this project is doing anything for me. I've had such a lackluster reading month in general from other things I've read, and in addition to the things that I've been trying for this project. And I just am like, it's literally, I think tomorrow is July 1st, or tomorrow is the end of the month, and oh my God, I just got a gust of cool air. Oh my God, I wish I could just sit outside. It feels so much better out there. But that is the update. And again, I'm really sorry. But I don't know. I want to be able to do themed vlogs and stuff, but my mood shifts like that. Like, I could be like, yes, at the beginning of the week, I really want to read these 3 books. Get through one, get to the second one, and I'm like, So I'm just admitting my truth, and I am calling it quits. But again, A Memory Called Empire is a book I want to try at another time. Still don't know if it's exactly for me, so this kind of was a bust. You know, you live, you learn. And I learned that this quiz is not for me. So if you have taken the Read Your Color quiz, I would love to know what your color is and the genre or genres were recommended. And then if you have read any of those books, do you feel like the quiz is accurate or not? You know, it was fun to try, but gotta cut my losses. So that's the end of that adventure. I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to complete it. One of my patrons definitely guessed correct. So that's gonna be it for me. Stay blessed, hydrate, and moisturize, and sunscreen. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.